Thank you for joining me today, dear friends. We're going to talk a little bit more about Power Virtual Agents. And I wanted to touch base on three key points here. One would be permissions, the second would be environments, and the third would be known issues that we might encounter when we work with Power Virtual Agents. So let's go first to environments. What is it about, right? If you navigate to Office 365 Administration Center, and to be precise to admin microsoft.com, and in the admin portal you can navigate to specific administration center, like something to do with Power Platform, right? There is a Power Automate one and one which is called Power Apps, right? Another option would be just to navigate directly through this URL, admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com. You see here I have a default environment. This is my general environment. And of course, I can separate my environments. Let's say if I do some development, I can create a specific development environment. So you see here, when I click on the plus sign, then I can give it a name. And then for the environment type, I can select either sandbox or trial, production, or specific trial, right? So for me, what's important for now, just to remember that when you do some development work, you can go either with sandbox or trial, and then when you're ready to switch, you can switch it to production. It would be a good practice to separate your virtual agents development from the main one, in case if your business requires to do so. It would be something like bot docs. I just try to create one. The location is here. Then I click save. And since I do not have a specific license, it provisioned a trial automatically for me. So that's great. You see, I have a bot sandbox environment, which is a trial, and I can use it for 29 days. Right? So that's a good starting point. And that's something to keep in mind. Environment is basically the specific database or specific area where you can develop, experiment, or use it for production. So in my case, this is the default one. It would be my productive environment, and this would be my sandbox or trial environment. So that's one thing. Then when we work with environments, right, we create one, then let's look at permission and some known issues. When we work with Power Virtual Agents, there are a couple of things to take care, right? One thing's, right, if we look at the general Microsoft, some forums here, right, this is one of the common errors you can get. You don't have permissions to any environments. Please get access from administrator. And you see here, if we look, it could be related to license. It could be, but it's not always the case. One thing to remember, of course, you have to assign the license first. And also, if we look at my official Microsoft documentation through environments first run experience, right? This is the URL here you can get. And Microsoft has published a couple of known issues when creating a bot. One of the known issues would be related to insufficient permissions for the selected environment. And also, the environment doesn't show up in a drop-down menu. So basically, these are the two known issues, either insufficient permissions or the environment doesn't show up here. And you would the second issue here would be resolved by creating a specific database. So when we create an environment, there is an option to either create a database or not. And of course, database is needed so that you can store information related to your Power Virtual agents there. And this one just means that the environment is not there. So that was the reason why I showed you in the beginning the initial step that environment has to be created. Also, when we talk about known issues, what's important to see, and Microsoft has quite good documentation here, it's related to error codes, right? So Power Virtual Agents, when you have some issues here, you can get some error list, right? And these are quite self-explanatory with a lot of information. It could be related to authorization, it can be related to publishing, etc. So that's a great starting point when you try to troubleshoot your Power Virtual Agent. Just go here to this docsmicrosoft.com and then Power Virtual Agents error codes. This would be the URL. That's something to check. And one more, last but not least, what I wanted to mention to you is the permissions, right? So your Power Virtual Agents have to have permissions to the database and to the environment, right? So when you make sure you have the license assigned. If the license is assigned properly and your virtual agents has access to the environment, right? Let me click on this environment just to show you what I mean. So there is you see, I don't have a database here. So if I try to create a virtual agents in this environment, it will fail because there is no database. And yeah, that's something to take to look. And if I look here, right, this is just a Power Virtual Agent portal, right? And this is my first Power Virtual Agent, just a simple one. Let's look here what I have under security. Right, so there is something related to sharing, authentication, and allow list, web channel security. This would be the things which are related to permissions. So the bot has to authenticate. It can be shared or not, things like that. Also, when we look on the channels, of course, your user account has to have access to a specific channel to be able to publish this bot, and you can publish it in different places. So that's a good thing to remember. So that's something for you today that I think would be quite useful. Once again, to summarize, you can search for specific error codes on the official Microsoft site with a lot of details here, and also 2 known issues to remember to make sure that environment is there and the database is also there. It should help you to start going with Power Virtual Agents. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. Stay healthy. Bye bye.